Hello, my name is Matt and I am the VP of Top Left here. I'm going to be sharing some recent updates with you. Welcome to everybody who's here. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you taking the time to come here and learn about some of these new updates that we've made. Not just about the Kanban application for ConnectWise and Autotask, but we've also got some really valuable training and teaching updates that I'll explain. I'll explain it right now, actually. Let's go. So a couple, I'll start out with our training stuff and then I'll get into the application stuff. So we have launched new training sessions. This is available to everybody. The idea is mainly for customers, but prospective customers are welcome to attend as well. And we'll do it twice a week. You don't have to register. You just drop in at one of the times here. You have a time on Tuesday and a time on Wednesday. This one would be, this time would work better for Eastern North America customers and Europeans. This one would be, for more Western and Asia Pacific sort of customers. So choose which one you want. You can come to as many as you want, no limit. And just show up here. We have launched the what we call the completed ticket challenge, which is listed here on our website. This is a 3-week training, like basically a 3-week boot camp for you. Because if your team members feel like this, it's not a good state. If they're just running around kind of like chickens with their heads cut off because they got too many things going on, that is not maintainable. That tends to fall apart. You're gonna burn out those engineers. You're gonna frustrate your customers when you forget about their work. It's not good. So, and we've been there, right, as an MSP. So we collected everything we know about this and launched this boot camp. Basically, for 3 weeks, you get an email every day, has instructions like training in the email, something short, manageable, very clear, explicit on exactly what you got to do. You don't got to think about it all. If you want to just just do what the email says. Video training along with that every day, and then you get to be part of the community too. So you get that content, and then you get access to the community discussion group online, and one call on like at the end of the week. Join a call with other MSPs doing the same thing. Very, very valuable. So yeah, this is some of the results here. This is actual results from a customer that has gone through the program. Basically, when they started, they had in their column called assigned, they had 43 tickets. By the end, they had gotten that down to 25. They had a column for stalled stuff. They had started out with 34 tickets there at the beginning, got that down to 17, looks like. So real results. And if you want to improve that in your practice, join us. It's $199 for the program. Takes about 3 weeks, and you'll be able to see how to improve your practices in order to make a habit of finishing work before you start it to get everything back under control. Okay, yes, we welcome you to that. Okay, so let's talk about the improvements to the application now. By the way, you don't have to wait till a webinar like this to learn about these sorts of things. If you go to announcements.topleft.team, this is where you can see these things as we announce them. Here's like a summary message, but mostly we announce the features as we release them. And you can subscribe here, put your email in there, and then you'll get those in your inbox so that you're the first ones to know when we launch new features. So yeah, we welcome you to do that. So let's take a look at some of the new things that we've launched in the last through January and February. So one of the big things here is the ability to send when a technician makes a time entry or a note to be able to send the content of that time entry or note to the contact. So that's something that you can do. You've always been able to do that in Autotask, but that because it's not available in their API, not available to us until now, you haven't been able to do that. But that was high demand from customers, so we've added that now. So here's an example. Let's say that a technician is working a ticket in progress. They want to go and enter. Let's say they want to enter some time. And now, oh, this doesn't have a contact. Where will be one with a contact? Well, let me, I think we have more contacts here on the ConnectWise one. The option is fairly similar. This is new for both ConnectWise and Autotask mode. Basically, now you'll see an option to be able to send the message, is basically send the content of that note or time entry to the contact. So you would see that down on the Autotask side. That would be listed down here in this area, just that this ticket doesn't have a contact. Same thing with the notes. So excuse me, that's very useful to be able to keep your contacts up to date. Now, technicians can use that right away if they, but I will point out that there is some configuration that you'll probably want to review because you can make this feature, you can use it in its basic form, this feature, but there is, excuse me, there is some configuration that you can do to make it a lot better. So that is available under here, under in Autotask mode. It's available here under contact emails. So what this means here is there's some explanation here, and basically you can customize the templates that get used when we send out those notes and time entries. So you can send it out from the set the name that it gets sent under, the email that it gets sent under. This is probably the most important one, because if you set that properly, then it will, if the customer responds to that message in their inbox, then it will make it back into your email connector and become a note or a time, it will become a note on the ticket. Okay, so if you don't set that, then it will be sent in such a way that the customer's reply will go to the technician, okay, which is not ideal. It's also not terrible. At least they will get something, but it's not ideal. So I would recommend that you definitely come in here and set that so that the tickets become notes, the responses become notes on the ticket. Okay, you can also set the excuse me, set the contents of the format of the subject. You can set the contents, the templates to use for time entries, and the templates to use for the message for notes, notifications. And this actually supports the same sort of template format as Autotask supports. So you can pretty much, it doesn't support all of the same fields, but it supports a lot of the same fields, and the format is the same. So more or less, you can just copy straight out of the template, copy the templates straight out of Autotask, copy it into copy it into these fields here, and you're good to go. In the ConnectWise side, it's available under here. There's a couple of options because on the ConnectWise side, it's a little more complicated. So here's one. These are the formatting. Note the subjects and yeah, subject format, the body format, HTML and text. Same thing. It supports the same type of formatting as you put into ConnectWise. Not all of the same fields, but many of the same fields, and the format's the same. So you can, again, just copy and paste more or less. This only works, this is only necessary for notes. Time entry, you have in the past and continue to be able to send notes, or I should say time entries, to the contact, because that was one thing that is available in the ConnectWise API. So when technicians make a time entry, that has always been able to go to the contact. The new feature is that when they make a note, that can go to the contact. Okay, so you'll want to customize these things. Now, email connectors, excuse me, this you want to be This is similar to the option that I just described in ConnectWise in Autotask mode. Basically, like how do we send the message so that the responses go to the right place? If you don't fill this out, the responses will go back to the technician who sent it. Okay, which is not ideal. It's also not a disaster. Just it's not like it goes nowhere. But if you customize this, you can basically put in the right email address that the responses go to, so that ConnectWise pulls it in and makes it a makes the response a note on the ticket. You set the reply to email, and then you can set the from name as well. Okay, so those are some useful features. The next one here is technicians are really going to like this. This is for the timers. You may have noticed that these new features on the cards here. So here's a timer. As technicians work on a ticket, then they can just click this play button, begins a timer, so it's counting up. They don't have to worry about when they started. And if they go and make a time, they can either click record, it'll open up the time entry, or if you just go to the note dialog here, we go, the timer's still running. When you're ready, like you can be making your notes as you work. Record that, and it will pop in the right information there, and you're good to go. Makes life much easier for a technician, and that's something that has been available for a while, like a long time in Autotask, in a while also in ConnectWise, and now it's available in top left. Okay, another new feature that we've added. This is very useful for being able to just track that, track the work in your that you're displaying on your Kanban boards in order to help identify bottlenecks in your team, especially ones where you maybe have one or two senior technicians and they've got their hands in a lot of the different tickets that are going on right now. Basically, they've got too much work. So much work goes to them because they're the experts that it slows down your whole team. You want to be able to identify that and then stop that, by sending other work, making sure that they're not getting any work that any junior engineers can do. There can be other bottlenecks as well, but that's a pretty common one. Now, so what the feature is previously you could set work in progress limits, WIP limits, and they would be applied to basically the board as a whole. So you could say, like, for the in progress column, I don't want to have any more than 40 tickets in the in progress column. Yeah, just to pick an example. And that you'd have to make that choice, like, is 40 the right number? You'd make that choice based on how many technicians you have. Okay, but there was no way to, and so I should say, it could be that some technicians could have still too many, and other technicians could have too few, but it would all average out, and so your whole team would still be below the that work in progress limit that you've set for the entire board. But you actually still have a problem. It's just that it's kind of averaging out to kind of look like it's okay. So we've added a feature where the work in progress limits that you set can apply to the individual swim lanes. So, and when you do that, then we calculate the work in progress limit for the board automatically. And so that is a bit more flexible too when you when you get a new technician in your team or lose a technician, that it actually automatically adjusts the limit for the board as a whole. So here's an example of how that's working in excuse me, in practice here. So I've set here the work in progress maximum to 10. So, and applied it to just the individual swim lanes. So let's see if we have an example here. So this one, Terry in the swim lane here, he's got 14 in progress, and we've set a maximum to 10. And so this is showing in red. Now let's see if we've got an example of anybody who has less. Yeah, here's an example. So the limit is 10. Now Sheila, as an example, has 10. She's within the limit. And so this appears in green. So what you do is you make sure that you pay attention as a manager, and like in the meeting, in your huddles, when you're using a board like this, you pay attention to this marker here. And when it's red, then you know that that individual is over their work in progress limit. If it's green, then it's no problem. And at the top of the board here, we automatically calculate this. So this board has 12 swim lanes, 10 each. Yeah, it means that this whole board can have 120 cards in this column, and we're still okay. Okay, so that's why that's marked in green. Now let me show you how to configure that. That would involve two options here. So one is in the swim lane option. So here's the new option here, WIP limits per swim lane. So go ahead and check that if that's the behavior what you want. And what you need to do then is also come over to the columns, and then you're going to need to adjust these limits here to make them make sense for the individual swim lanes, because now these don't apply to the board as a whole. Now they apply to the individual swim lanes. So you're going to need to change the numbers here. So if you had like 40 right now, go and enable that option on the for the swim lane, and then you come in and change this to 5 or 10 or whatever you think is the right number for your team. That's how that works. We've got a few other things that we've added here. Let's take a look. One is the ability to show to only show tickets that have warnings and errors on them. So in my example board here, I have looks like most of our cards have errors on them. Here's one that is looking a lot better. So and now it's actually available via a keyboard shortcut. Okay, so let me come up here and show you this. You might not know about this. Under the help menu, there's a dialog here that will list you the keyboard shortcuts. Not too many right now, but we are going to add more keyboard shortcuts to do different things. What we're looking at here is the card display mode. Basically, we toggle between we show all cards, or we just show cards with errors and warnings. That would be a red or an orange tag on the card, or we can show just cards with red errors. Okay, so if I just press C, then now I've hidden all of the cards that have no warnings on them, warnings or errors. And if I press it again, I won't actually see a difference because I don't have any examples here that just have the orange warning on that. So there's actually no difference on this particular board. But if you had tickets that were in a kind of a warning stage, then those would be hidden. And now you'd only see those that have the actual red errors. And I can press the C key to get back to my normal state here where we see everything. So that's available on all the different types of boards, ConnectWise and Autotask mode, and that will help you manage by exception, basically just focusing on those tickets that have problems so that you can, that's where you spend your energy, right? You don't, especially for managers, you don't necessarily need to always be, have those tickets in the front of your mind when they're going well, right? You need to spend your energy on those tickets that are not going well and get those back on track. And that makes that a lot easier. We also have another mode where so we announced these, I think, in December, where we are showing you some additional reporting information, like adding up the number of total hours that have been logged on all the tickets on these cards, and the total number of budget hours and the averages and the time that these tickets stay in their statuses, things like that. And we also show that for the columns as well as all of the individual swim lanes. So you can get quite a bit of detail there to understand what's actually happening in practice in this board in terms of, are these tickets going over their budget? Are they spending a long time in their status, and so on. But you might not always want to see these headers. So we have a way to hide this and get back to a simple view. Let me take you back here to the keyboard shortcuts option. We have the H keyboard shortcut, which will cycle the display totals. If I press the H key, then we get back to a mode that's very, very simple and clean. So if you just want to focus on the work itself and not kind of the summaries of what's going on, then this view is a very, very clean view, and it'll help you focus. If I just press H again, then we get the overall just the numbers of tickets, like the total number of cards, the count of warnings and count of errors. If I want to get back to the main mode here, where I show all the details, I just press the H key again, and there we go. The final feature in terms of the actual software application is available here on, this is special for ConnectWise sales boards. So here's an example. We can see here the pipeline, prospect, qualification, quote, evaluation, and so on. and all the cards in these columns and swim lanes. Now, this is something that I think we offered that in kind of December, and then January made some improvements. We are showing the next step on that ticket, and that's actually something that you can see in the opportunity report in ConnectWise. So it may be something that you're already kind of familiar with using. It's definitely with your sales work, you want to be tracking the next step on that work so that you are doing the right activities to be pulling in, winning those sales. And so now we actually show that on these cards here too. So here's an example. We can see, got some kind of stale example data here, but if the next step is to send the follow-up, then it appears on the card here. And if there's also due dates frequently mentioned on those activities. And so in that case, we show you when it was due as well. And as usual, we take it in red then if it's in the past. That can keep you and your sales team working towards all of the things that you need to do to be winning those sales. Finally, we have a couple of improvements, not to the software itself, but to how we host the software. This is something that has been, in the pipeline and been planned for a long time. But we now have regions all over the world. So previously, for a long time we were hosted in Seattle, and that served our customers well for a long time. Then we in the late in last year, we migrated to a new cloud provider that offered us a lot more features and a lot more reliability. That was in New York. But we've always wanted to offer hosting around the world for customers, because we have many customers that are not in the United States, or if they are in the United States, they're not either, they're on the West Coast or the East Coast, right? So we now have 4 worldwide hosting regions, and you can see those on our new status page. So that's something that we introduced at the same time as well, is this status page, status.topleft.team, and that will show you what's going on with top left cloud hosting. As you can see our regions here, we have a region in Asia Pacific that's actually in Singapore. We have an EU region, which is in Frankfurt, US East, which is still in New York, and finally US West in San Francisco. So you can get your top left service closer to you, and that is generally, it's always for 2 reasons. One is because it's a bit faster then, and the second is especially for EU customers have sometimes been concerned about where the data lives, and so now anyone with that concern, make sure that of course, when a customer subscribes, we'll put you in the region that we think is closest to you. So that should just happen. But if you have any concerns, you can certainly confirm with us. Like, where's my data hosted? I want it in EU, or I want it somewhere else. We're happy to move you to a different region if you need to. Yeah. So again, that's a big thing that's been in the works. We've wanted to do, and we're happy to finally be able to offer that for our customers for performance and concerns about where the data lives. So that's it. We thank you for taking the time to watch this. We hope that you have some of these improvements, you are able to check those out and that they're useful for you. Please do send us feedback or questions. The email for that is help@topleft.team. We love to hear from you, and make sure that we get any of your questions answered, and we'd love to accept your feedback as well. So thank you for being a Top Left customer. We really appreciate it, and thanks for your time. Bye-bye.